Hi, I'm Heather from Heather Handmade, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a Christmas stocking with a cuff using a free sewing pattern that you can find on my blog. Please like this video and follow my channel for all sorts of sewing and free sewing patterns. The holidays are coming up, and if you celebrate Christmas, you might do the tradition of hanging up your stockings and filling it with goodies. So I have created this free sewing pattern. You can use lots of different fun fabrics. You can add embroidery here if that's something that you want to do. You can do quilting. There's just so many options you can do. So let's get started. For this project, you're going to need 3/4 of a yard of quilting cotton for both the outer fabric and the inner fabric. I'm going to be using this red ornament fabric for the outside and this holly fabric for the inside. I'm going to be using this fabric for the cuff for the outside, so it will look like this right here at the top, and this will be for the lining of the cuff. You're also going to need some lightweight interfacing and the free pattern, which you can find the link in the description, and the pattern is on my blog. So the first thing I'm going to do is to use the pattern pieces to cut out all the pattern pieces I will need. I have 2 mirrored pieces of the outer fabric for the stocking and 2 of the interfacing. I have 2 outer cuffs, 2 interfacing cuffs, 1 loop and 1 interfacing loop. Then I have 2 mirrored stockings out of the lining fabric and 2 cuff pieces from the lining fabric. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fuse the interfacing to the wrong sides of all of my outer stocking pieces. So I have interfaced all of these main outer pieces, and they are ready to be sewn into a stocking. So the first thing we're going to do is place the outer stocking and pieces right sides together. And we are going to pin all the way around the edges. When we sew, we're going to sew down the side, down around the toe, and up the other side. We are not going to sew right here across the top. Take your lining stocking pieces, and we are going to line these up right sides together. And we are going to pin around the sides and the bottom, just like we did the outer pieces. Both of the stockings have been sewn, and I'm going to take some pinking shears and just kind of go around the corners to reduce the bulk. And then you're going to take some scissors and you're just going to do a couple of clips into this inner curve. And then do the same to the lining. Now take your outer stocking and you're going to turn it right side out like this. Poke out all of these curves at the end. Then I'm taking my lining stocking and I'm going to stick it right in here. I'm lining up these seams. So I'm going to pin these top edges together. I'm going to open these seam allowances so that they're open and flat and pin this top edge together. I'm going to baste around this edge to keep these two layers of fabric together. So take your loop piece, and you can do this with an iron, but it also works just by finger pressing. So I'm pressing it in half with my fingers. Then I'm taking these long edges and bringing them in to meet at that fold I already created. So this side and then this side. Then I keep these two edges folded and fold in that first fold I created, and you have all of those raw edges enclosed. So I'm going to pin these folds in place, and I'm going to sew down each side of the loop, this side and this side, 1/8 inches from the edge. So now you take your loop and fold it in half, matching up the short ends. We're going to pin it into the top of the stocking. So I'm pinning it to the inside, and I'm pinning it next to this seam because when it's done, it will hang up here. This is, you know, how a stocking hangs back here on this side. So I'm going to pin this here like this. And then I'm just going to baste across here to secure that loop. Take your cuff pieces and we're going to line them up right sides together. And when we sew these pieces, we're only going to sew them on the sides. Once these side seams have been sewn, we are going to turn your lining piece right side out and then slide it inside your outer cuff piece. We're going to line up the side seams. Now, if you have directional fabric, you're going to want to make sure that you are lining up the bottom edge of both the cuff and the outer fabric, because we're going to sew the bottom edge together in the next step. So now take your cuff, you're going to open it right sides out. Then you are going to tuck the lining back up inside. So I'm rolling this seam to tuck the lining inside. It might make it so the lining comes up just a little bit here, like 1/8 of an inch. It will come up past, and that will make the that will keep the lining in like inside so you don't see it. So we're going to pin that all the way across. You can top stitch down here to secure this if you want, or you can just baste across the top here if you don't want that top stitching at the bottom of your cuff. So the stocking is pretty much done and the cuff is pretty much done. So now to combine the two, we are going to place the cuff inside the stocking with the right side of the cuff facing the lining of the stocking. So we're going to slide it in here and match up the side seams. Now the cuff feels, it is the same size as the stocking, the top, but it feels smaller because it's on the inside. So you kind of have to, like, it almost feels like easing the cuff into the top of the stocking. But when we turn it all right side out, it will sit on the outside of the stocking. So now we're going to sew this seam. Once the cuff is sewn on, you can pull it out like this, and then you just fold it down over the stocking. Pull your loop up. You gotta roll this seam out. And you have finished your stocking. You will see the lining at the top, but if you choose a lining that you like, and you can kind of, you know, push the cuff up a little bit like this. But as it's hanging, you're still probably going to be able to peek a little bit at the lining. And you have finished your really great Christmas stocking with a cuff. And that's how you make an easy DIY Christmas stocking with a free stocking pattern. I can't wait to see all of the stocking patterns that you make. Check out these fun playlists with Christmas sewing projects and holiday sewing projects. There are a lot of fun things that you can make for Christmas with free sewing patterns. So check these out and you might be inspired to make another fun sewing project. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you have a wonderful day.